But I'd like to open it up for questions. And see if there's anything I can help you out with. Okay.
In your research, where does the assessment play? Can you speak to that a little bit and how important it is?
Oh, I can speak to this. I can write a book about this. Here, I'll keep this for the next person. Assessment and evaluation is huge. It's huge. And particularly in the corporate world, we don't do it. We don't do it. First of all, we have a model that we rely on that is a half-century old, and it's called Kirkpatrick. And it's in its day, it may have been fine, but it's not fine today. It has 4 levels, and it says, did you like it? Well, in the 1960s, we might have cared if they liked it. Now we got to go beyond whether they like it. The second thing it says is, did they get it? With budgets and training budgets the way they are today, they better get it. You know, we're not in the position that we can entertain people anymore. We're not in the position that training is just for fun. Let's show up, let's eat a bagel, let's have a party. That's not it. The third level is, can they apply it? Well, my contention is we have to start with those 3. Because if they didn't get it, they didn't like it, and they can't apply it, then we didn't do our jobs. And then the 4th level is something called, did it impact the organization? But nobody ever says, how did it impact the organization? So what we do is we run around putting together ridiculous ROI statements saying, we didn't fly everybody to Chicago, we saved money, the training must have been effective. So to answer your question, to me, assessment and evaluation are 2 of the most important things we can do in training. If we don't assess people, if we just broadcast information, which rapid e-learning is very guilty of, we're just going to throw it out there and hope something sticks. If we don't assess people, we really don't know whether you learned something. And there are so many variables into whether you learn something that without that assessment, we don't know. It's that simple. Secondly, we have some issues with how we assess. We assess at a very low level of knowledge. We have a tendency to, in Bloom's taxonomy, we have a tendency to assess at the knowledge level, multiple choice tests, short answers, matching. You know, we never get to the higher levels. If you ask CEOs, you ask people out there in the corporate world, what do you want from your human capital management people? What do you want from your human talent management people? One of the things that keeps coming up is we want people who can help people become critical thinkers, help people become analytical thinkers. We want innovation. We want creativity from our workers. You know, we don't measure any of that stuff. We don't get there. Why? Because the models that we have out there are either so complex and so convoluted that to actually apply them in the workplace is impractical. So what we say is, we don't have the time. We don't have the time. We don't know how to measure this. We're not going to do it. You know, I do a whole thing on metrics that matter, and that's key. You haven't hit on one of my hot buttons, so I'll cut it short. But if you don't, just remember 2 things. If you don't measure it, if you don't evaluate it, if you don't assess it, we don't really know if they learned. And secondly, and that assessment ought to be part of the design of your program from get-go. Maybe before you even set down your learner, after you do your needs analysis, maybe even before you set down your learning objectives, you should have some idea how you're going to measure success. Because otherwise you don't know what success looks like. So assessment and evaluation, also honestly evaluating how the training dollar is being spent and what you're doing and whether people are growing and all that kind of stuff.